Hello, have you ever heard people use the expression, don't burn the candle at both ends? You know, that's an old figure of speech. Well, I have a candle here. I can't get it to burn at either end, around the sides, up the middle, top, the bottom, nothing. You are a terrible candle, sir. You are an embarrassment to candles as a whole. Well, anyway, maybe, on the other hand, maybe the reason the candle won't burn today is because there's too much moisture in the air to get a fire going. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's the moisture. Why would there be moisture? Maybe because today's monster here on Creepy Cheapies, where we dig the art of Halloween masks, happens to be an underwater denizen. This thing, what? That's right, it's an actual mask of an anglerfish. What? Not angelfish. Definitely not angelfish. Anglerfish. And if you are not familiar with the term anglerfish, and yes, I know a fisherman is sometimes called an angler, but there is such a thing as an anglerfish. You can look that up and read all about the anglerfish, and they're fascinating creatures, and they do look somewhat like this, although they tend to be more of just a fish rather than having a head like an anglerfish and then a whole body like a human being, which is probably what you would do if you acquired this mask, which came out back in 2022 from Ghoulish Productions. Yeah. Now, weirdly, this one has been discontinued and then reissued and discontinued again a couple of times in the last few years. So depending on when you're seeing this video, I don't know how much difficulty or how much ease you're going to have finding one, but I think it's worth the search. If you like strange monsters, not Glenn Strange as the monster, not that, no. If you like weird looking freaky monsters, this one is really different from anything else you have in the collection or at the haunted attraction. Now, ideally, this character would be seen underwater, of course, which the only way you're really going to be able to do that is if you have an actual tank of water and somebody who's an expert scuba diver with an air supply who can stay under the water when your customers go past to look at the monsters. That's kind of a lot of trouble. Or you could have the old the thing where you have two panes of glass and it's all sealed and it's like a fish tank, only instead of being broad, it's very narrow, and you have that standing up and have water with bubbles coming up, bubbling up in it between the audience and the monster, and then it looks for all the world like the monster is underwater. That's a lot of trouble too, and expense. So maybe you should just wear it as a costume and just go as a fish out of water. I've spent 150 years as one. It can be done. Although it's hard to light candles when you have a wet, slimy monster like this around. Now, as for this thing, obviously, the cool thing to do would be as if this thing lit up. Now, there is a cheap, mass-produced anglerfish mask. Believe it or not, there are two anglerfish masks in the universe at the same time. What are the odds? 63,248 to 1, to be specific. But there is another anglerfish mask out there. I don't know the company that makes it, but I have seen one. But it's very silly. It's very masky looking. This one from Ghoulish Productions really looks like a high quality mask and is beautifully sculpted with so much detail all the way around. Look at the back of this thing. Oh my gosh. What would you wear with it if you would wear it to a costume party or wear it at the haunted house or the haunted aquarium? The haunted whatever you're haunting. What would you wear? Well, use your imagination. I would say look up stills of old movies about water-breathing monsters and see if you can't construct something similar. Maybe you could build a costume out of that. Cosplay foam, you know, that you can cut and make shapes out of. Or maybe you just happen to have a blue scaly monster suit in the closet that you forgot about, you know, the one that your uncle wore to the prom. Nobody took it out again since then. Maybe you just have something like that. I don't know. But what a cool thing. Hands, it's hard to find Creature from the Black Lagoon type hands, which it seems like what this guy would have, webbed fingers. So you might have to start with some traditional monster hands and devise some way to do the horrible happy hands at home kind of crafting to make them match the mask by adding something in between the fingers, because webbed fingers would look cool with this guy, the Anglerfish. Anglerfish, yeah. Although he looks more like an angry fish. This is cool too, because when you're going to wear it around, that thing's going to be bobbing in front of you and freaking people out. Obviously, the awesome thing to do would be if this bulb at the end were transparent and had a little wire running up in there with a little LED glowing. So you had that little light, because for one thing, that would look more like, well, it's an aid to him in seeing underwater, you see. Helps him see around the very bottom of the ocean if he had his light glowing there. And it might also keep you from tripping over something and falling down the stairs at the haunted house, because you have a nice light there. But not sure what I'd use for that. I sort of had that in mind when I acquired this, like cutting that off and putting a clear something. We need a clear, not a perfect ball ideally, but a sort of an egg shape, an oval shape, something transparent and ovoid that could be attached to there, and you could run your wire with your little LED. A craft project for you to work on and share pictures with all the weirdos on the internet who love masks, like the beautiful Ghoulish Productions, hard to find sometimes, easy to find sometimes, Anglerfish. And that's all from us. Stay tuned now for an entire week of smug and condescending insurance commercials. Thank you.